Om Sadashivasamarampham Shankaracharyamadhyamam Asmadacharyaparyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Nidhaya Hridi Visheshvam Vidhaya Guru Vandanam Balanan Sukhabodhaya Kriyate Tarka samgraha. Okay. Now, we saw all that refutation, etc., etc. Then, little bit he is also going into analysis about your Vidhi Pratisheda sentences in the Shastra. Okay? Actually, that is the job of the Purva Mimamsaka. But a little bit of that we bring it into Nyaya also, because some aspects of the Veda is acceptable to the Nayayika. So, because of that, he is looking into that aspect also. Okay? Yeah. All right. So, basic Vidhi and Pratisheda is simple. We will say, what is a Vidhi? Something that tells you to do something. What is a Pratisheda? Something that tells you to refrain from something. So, generally the thinking is, it is connected with Dharma, Dharma. Dharma, Dharma, not only in terms of ethics, etc., but also in terms of Punya Papa. Okay? Remember, Dharma has a lot of meanings. So, your worldly actions, also some of them will come under Dharma in terms of universal ethics, etc., principles, etc. Dharma, Dharma is also connected with your afterlife. So, what happens to you after that? Death also is part of Dharma, Dharma. So, whatever you do for that is also part of Dharma, Dharma. Your Vedic karma also comes under Dharma and Adharma. So, Dharma is not just the order of things that we are talking about. No, it has got other dimensions. It is not just ethical. For simple things, we will say universal ethics. That's the simplest way of looking at it. But technically, all this come under Dharma. So, he says, when a Vidhi is there, what all of the things kept in mind? Okay? In fact, page 155 of your books, you will find that. He says, Kriti Sadhyata Jnanam. Kriti Sadhyata Jnanam. The knowledge that this action is going to lead you to this. Kriti Sadhyata, it's called. Okay? Unless you have that, how are you going to do anything? Okay? Eating food will satisfy my hunger. Unless that knowledge is there, how am I going to do it? This ritual will give me this. So, that knowledge has to be there first. That is why when the Vidhi is given, very often they will say, Swarga Kamaha Yejet Agnishtomena. If you are a Swarga Kamaha, then this is meant for this purpose. Kriti Sadhyata. Okay? And that's one important thing. Because... Huh? No, that apart. But Kriti Sadhyata. This is Jnanam of this action giving you this result. Because that is important. Otherwise, your actions become unproductive. Unproductive. Yeah. I want moksha, therefore I am joining a yoga class. What do they teach there? Only asanas. It will give you good health. Okay. But nothing more than that. Kriti Sadhyata, what is going to give you what? Yeah. What is going to give you what? Therefore, the clarity of your goal and purpose and actions. A definite plan has to be. Okay. That Kriti Sadhyata has to be clear. So now you know how work without expecting results is so foolish. I don't know how one wrong statement has gone around the world and is accepted by everyone. Yeah, the whole world accepts that. Karma Yoga is work without expecting this. I mean, to what extent? People are not thinking. If you think a bit, you know it's not possible. No? Anyway. Then, Ishta Sadhanata Jnanam. That, hey, this is a fruit that is desirable for me. I should rather connect with the result. No? That this karma phala that they are talking about, do I want it or not? Swamiji, do a putra kameshti. Pagal ban gaya kya? Okay. Ishta sadhanata jnanam. That what you are getting from that. That ishtam, it should be ishtam for you. Then he says, balavad nishta anubandha hitatva jnanam. Meaning the knowledge that what you do will not harm anybody. You don't want to do things by harming everyone. No? Samji, I don't mind. Then dharma comes into the picture. No? Therefore, what you are doing is not harming anyone. That is why for a Vedic karma, when they go to cut wood, they'll say a prayer to the forest, they'll say a prayer to the tree, and only then will they even cut a tree or cut a part of the thing. Because, yeah. So, all that is there. Yeah. Because you don't want to harm anyone. Are there rights meant for harming people? Yes, it is there. But you are not supposed to be doing it. But it is Vedic. You can kill somebody with a ritual. It is there. It is there, very much there. You are not supposed to do it. If you are not supposed to do it, why did the Veda reveal it? Because you have to know. Veda's job is to reveal what is, what you can't figure out. So if this is there, it is revealed. And it can be used under certain conditions like warfare, etc. You do it against the enemy. No? It's better that one commander goes off rather than 100 people on your side dying because of that character. No? Right or wrong? Chinese Prime Minister is being aggressive all over. So now who can decide to do it? Not you and me, okay? You have to be in that leadership position as an opponent. Karlo, yeah. Save the world. Hitler tha. Makes sense? In those extreme situations, it makes sense. It was meant to be used like that. Though there are people who abuse it. There are people who abuse it. Yeah. Yeah. Because anything can be abused. No? And there are tantrics who sometimes are struggling for a living. Khana pina nahi hai yaar. So they'll go and pay him some money. Okay, I'll do it. At least this month, my family is okay. Na? Papi paid ke vaste. He'll do an adharmic thing. It's actually adharmic. No? Yeah. But I've seen people who are willing to do this. So, but the basic premise is that what you do should not harm anybody. Yeah. Should not harm anyone or anything. That's the basic. Now, this is the elaborateness of how you decide to do an action or something. Okay? First, whether you want the, second, whether you know that this will take you there, which will include your ability, etc. Which will include. Because if it doesn't include your ability, how do you know? Okay. Yeah. And it's not going to harm anyone. Now, if you want to cut across the whole thing and say one simple word, what is the chodhana for karma, what will you say? What impels you to an action? Simplest terms. What can you reduce the whole thing to? Your desire. Exactly. 100 Shastra can come and tell you do this, do this, do this. If you don't have a desire for it, not do it. Yeah. So a vidhi will work for a person who is committed to the Veda, not otherwise. What about those who are Veda Bhakya, which will include 90% of the Hindus itself in today's world? How many follow anyway? Even the champions who say we do all Vedic rituals as we are supposed to do. Agnihotra karta hai. The priest doesn't do Agnihotra every day. Forget anything else. Yeah. वो संध्या वंदन करेंगे तो बहुत बड़ा हो जाता है. Of course, there's another thing is, most of those rituals have been replaced by Pauranic ones, which is fine, which is good enough, because the bhakti, that is what is important. But karma phala, if you are talking about, then the Vedic rituals come into the picture also. Not that Pauranic rituals won't give you the same result. Yeah, but much smaller this thing. Yeah, much smaller this. But basic thing is, the chodhana comes from your desire. The Veda only helps you with that, with all these things. Yeah, with all this.
Swamiji, there are so many yajnas, homas and all.
Yeah.
When they say the phala, they say moksha as well.
Yeah. They'll say. So most, in fact, even the sankalpa, they will put moksha also there. The idea is that the moksha marga opens up for you. You will get the proper teacher, you will get the circumstances, everything. Yeah. You know, even if I am doing something, you know, the priest will say, dharma and moksha, they will say. They will leave out artha kama. Otherwise, they will say dharma, artha kama, moksha, abhyam. They will say, it is correct also. Why? Because you need circumstances which are conducive, no? Where the teaching is, there you have to be able to go, get it, make it available for you. All that thing is there. So a lot of other things are necessary. Otherwise, the struggle is too huge. Yeah, struggle is too huge. So for that sake, they will say it. The priest doesn't differentiate. For him, this will give you moksha. Like how when you go to a priest after someone's funeral and do the line, moksha ho gaya. He'll say that. The astrologer also will tell you, moksham, he has got moksham. That moksham is what? He is not caught up here, he is on his way. His gati is opened up. That moksha has to be understood as gati. Gati means your travel to another dimension, another birth, all that thing.
Not stuck here. Like
Yeah, he is not stuck. He is not stuck around because of some desire, this, that, etc. Yeah, because that can also happen. If your attachments, etc., are too much, you are stuck. Neither here nor there. Nobody has done any rituals to help you move. Not very common, but hota hai. Very common hota hai. Yeah. Okay. So with all this, okay, some basic analysis only. It's a little bit of an argument, but that's okay. 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 There is something more, but they are not very, very valid, interesting. Yeah. Where is action? Where is this, etc. Okay.
I don't know whether it is relevant. So this Gandhiji was killed. Gandhiji tomorrow is 30th.
Sorry, I'm not here.
Gandhiji is talking. Mahatma Gandhi.
Mahatma Gandhi.
Haan.
He was killed.
He was
Then
killed.
Indira Gandhi was killed. What can be the Chodhana for?
Okay. Now it's a okay. The chodhana for one person to kill another person. It can be a hatred. Simplest chodhana. Any person killing another can be hatred. Now Gandhiji's assassination was a little bit different. It was a political assassination. Therefore, political ideologies come into the picture. Now, if you understand the whole thing, then you have to understand why that Godse's book you will have to read. You know, his motivation for doing it. He may have had his motivation, but I don't think that killing was the right thing. It's adharmic. He'll have to suffer for that. Okay? Yeah. But the motivation came from their political ideology. He was very upset with the way he kept on making concessions for the Muslims. And when you look at Gandhiji's life, there was some truth in the accusation, not in the action, in the accusation. Because he went about fasting and advising everybody, ahimsa, ahimsa, ahimsa. When the Mapla riots happened in Kerala, he advised the Hindus to be non-violent. And what about the Muslims who are aggressing and being... No, that is, they are doing their dharma, you do your dharma. So who said our dharma is to unnecessarily unarmed and die? Krishna said the opposite, no? Arjuna said, I am willing to be killed. Krishna said, no, you have to fight. So, Mahatma Gandhi's advice there was adharmic. It was not in keeping with dharma. Yeah. It was heavy duty Muslim appeasement. So there I don't agree with Mahatma Gandhi's, what he said. I agree with the accusations made. Not in terms of the action done. But there I don't agree. Killing is not the solution. You can't assassinate somebody. Yeah. You don't assassinate someone for that. Yeah. Godse's book that way is interesting. But you have to be very objective when you read that book, okay? Know what to take, know what to junk. You have to be very objective when you read that book.
Why I killed
Yeah, exactly.
I have that.
Yeah. Then they gave him the title Mahatma. Generally in India, Mahatma is given as a title only to a spiritual master. Okay? Not to a great political leader. You don't use the word Mahatma. I don't agree with that. Okay? Was Gandhiji a great person? Yes. Phenomenally great. We owe him a lot. That also I'll agree with. But have a sense of objectivity too, what the person was. Yeah. If I want to joke about it, I can say he weaponized ahimsa. But it's true. He took ahimsa and weaponized it. Can anyone deny that statement of mine? When I am saying Gandhiji was one political leader who weaponized ahimsa. Great strategy. I mean, I never seen that done anywhere in the world. Great strategy. I respect him for his strategy. Yeah, what strategy it was. But was he solely responsible for the freedom? No. The British preferred to deal with him rather than the revolutionaries. Why? It is easier to deal with him. At least he wants to be friends with us. These characters will slaughter us. So deal. It was a carrot and stick. If you look at the big picture, it was carrot and stick. Yeah, big picture you have to know. Because Subhash Chandra Bose, I am digressing here, okay? Subhash Chandra Bose gave a call to the Indian army to mutiny. And the Indian army was battle trained. World War I, World War II, etc. That mutiny means Britishers would have been wiped out in India. So they didn't want to risk that. So they just let us go with Gandhiji, part as friends, we will still have some control over them. And which they did. Our colonial thinking, we are only breaking free now. Latin American countries did it long back. Most of the literature against colonization has come from Latin American countries, not from the Commonwealth. You can imagine the title Commonwealth and we are happy to be members of Commonwealth? Come on. What, we are wealth of the British Empire? Or what? That's how they looked at us. How are we looking at it as wealth of the empire? Idiotic. That's idiotic even to have that term, to be member of that group. Yeah, have the member, but membership is good because we can do a lot of things together. Change the name. Change the name. Commonwealth. It's colonial term it is. Yeah. Your mindset, you're still beholden to the throne. Yeah, they destroyed our economy over 100 years and or 200 years completely. But in 75 years, with all our stupid policies of secularism, etc., in the beginning, we have become bigger than them economically. And it is their karma phala, they will never solve the Ireland and Scotland problem. They will always have fights over it. They'll never solve it, I'm telling you. Okay. Now, he makes a very important statement here. The most important statement as far as Tarka is concerned. It is telling you the very purpose of it. Okay? Padartha tattva jnanasya parama prayojanam moksha. 157. 157, that Sanskrit one there. Parama prayojanam. What is the absolute prayojanam for padartha jnanam? Moksha eva. There can be finite other results. I can communicate, I can get to know, I can do things, I can achieve. Parama, the absolute one, is moksha. All right. Tatahi. There, and with respect to moksha, here is the statement. Atma vare drashtavyaha, shrotavyaha, mantavyaha, nididhyasitavyaha iti. This is a statement with respect to moksha. What should you do? Atma vare drashtavya. You should see yourself very clearly. All right, how do you do that? Because it's not seen with my physical eyes, etc. Shrotavyaha. Listen to a sampradaya with guru. Listen to the shastra that comes from a sampradaya with guru. Shrotavyaha. Then mantavya, reflect on it, negate the doubts, incorrect knowledge, etc. Therefore, mantavyaha. And nididhyasitavyaha, own it up in meditation, etc. So, this is very clear-cut Vedic statement, Upanishadic statement. Okay. Iti shrutya shravanadinam atma sakshadkaraha hetutva bodhana. That means what? From the Shruti you understand that for direct Atma Sakshatkaraha. There is another misunderstanding about Sakshatkara will happen. What is Sakshatkaraha? पहला ज्ञान मिला फिर साक्षात्कार होने का. Sakshatkara is like this. What is this? You are having Sakshatkara of the pen. Meaning what? Direct, immediate knowledge. Therefore, direct, immediate knowledge of the Atma is called Sakshatkara. Sakshat Akara. Directly you saw it. It is direct, immediate knowledge is called Sakshatkara. Okay? Tasya hetu bodhana. Therefore, Shravanam is the hetu for it. That you understand from the Upanishad. Shravanam is the hetu. All right, if Shravanam is the hetu, okay. Then Shrutvat, after having listened, you did your first listening, primary listening you are done. Then what happens? Dehadi vilakshana atma jnane sati api asambhava nivrutte vakyartha anusandhana rupam manana sadhyatvad. What do you have to do? Deha vilakshana atma should be very clear. Your drigdrishi vivek, atma anatma should be very clear. Therefore, he says, even though the jnanam you have got, you have heard, you are saying you are nothing but ananda, suna. But you are caught up here. You are caught up here, that's what is preventing you from understanding. Therefore, he says, sati api asambhava. Because even though you have heard it, it is not yours. It is not become a fact for you. Therefore, mananam comes into the picture. How can it be? Is it really like that? Because my experience is different from that. So, because of all that, you need mananam to understand deha vedarita atma. Is it true or not true? If you are saying deha atma, how are you going to understand atma jnanam? Body is me. Then no amount of teaching will work, no? No amount of teaching will work if body is you. Therefore, you need mananam. Okay. Manana upayoga padartana nirupana dvara shastra api moksha upayogitvam. And for mananam, what you need to know? What is padartha? What is guna? All this you have to know is different. Therefore, Tarka Shastram api upayogitvam. Upayogi for moksha. Okay, I'll question this later. Okay. Tad anantaram Shruti upidishta yoga vidina nididhyasane krite tadantaram dehadi vilakshana atma sakshatkare sat. Then what? After that, according to the what is taught in the Upanishad, etc., you do nididhyasanam. Then atma sakshatkara will take place. You will know aham ananda swarupa, etc. Therefore, Tarka Shastram upayogi sati.
So one word you used, I didn't understand. Deha
Vyatirekta Atma. Atma independent of the Deha. Yeah. Sati Deha dau aham iti abhimano rupam mithya jnana nashe dosha abhava pravritti abhave dharma dharmayo abhave janma abhave purva dharma dharma anusane nashe charama dukkha dhvamsa lakshana moksha jayate. Okay. Then he says, all right, once you have got that sakshatkara of Ananda, dehado mithya abhimanam. The mithya abhimanam, the identification with the body, etc., which is mithya, mithya jnana nashe. Mithya jnana, the erroneous conclusion, that is destroyed, and charama dukkha dvamsa lakshanayo moksha jayate. Then all your dukkha nashanam moksha jayate. ठीक लगता है ना सब?
What do you mean by dosha bhava?
हाँ, charama dukkha dosha abhavat. Okay. Okay. Then further continuing, he says dosha bhavat, because you don't have the dosha of mithya abhijnanam, mithya jnanam, etc. हाँ, dosha bhavat. Okay. Pravritti abhavaha. There is no action done by you after that. Pravritti abhava. Dharma dharmayo abhave. Dharma dharma doesn't take place. Meaning, karma of dharma dharma doesn't. Now you see what we are talking, I said before. Dharma dharma implies the action also. Janma bhave. Janma is gone. Next janma you don't get. Therefore, purva dharma dharmayoho anubhavena nashe. Your prarabdha karma, which has already started, anubhavena nasham. Prarabdha, how are you going to remove it? By going through only. Therefore, anubhavena nasham. Okay, nashe. Janma dukkha dvamsa lakshana moksha jayate. Therefore, you gain moksha. Jnanam eva moksha sadhanam. Ata siddham. Jnanam eva moksha sadhanam. Okay, having said this much, and all of you are students of Vedanta for some time, what is the flaw in it?
Swamiji?
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm not sure I figured out the flaw, but I'm a little confused with the sakshatkara, because how do you have direct, immediate knowledge of Atma? I mean, we know it is Swata Siddha,
Yeah.
but what is, it's sounding like an experience then.
It is not experience. It is Sakshatkara is not an experience.
So
This is a pen. One second. This is a pen is direct recognition. It is not an experience. You are only seeing it. You are not even touching it. But you know it's a pen. This is called Sakshatkara. Therefore, it is direct knowledge, clear-cut knowledge. Now, why you are feeling like this is because it may not have become clear yet. It is not a crystal clear yet. It's not that you don't know, but it is not very crystal clear. You need to own it up, etc.
Thank you, Swamiji.
Yeah. So, what is the flaw in this? No, the statement is this, that you study Tarka, look at what he is saying up to now, all this. You study Tarka. Why? Tarka is meant for Mananam. Mananam. Why? Because you have to first understand Deha Vyatirikta Atma. Now you say Sapta Padarthaha, Navadravyaha, etc. Chaturvimshati Gunaha.
Why would accept the Ishvara as material and intelligent God? So that subject-object relationship
The
always
basic assumption is, huh? It's a Padartha, number one. Second assumption, it is finite.
So that will never, because all padarthas are finite according to
Exactly.
oneness or all.
Yeah, Swamiji, they have a Nitya component in all the padarthas.
Yes, yeah.
So if
Padartha.
they have a Nitya component in all the padarthas, then how are they going to apply it?
Yeah, forget application. How would they help for Mananam? See, there are two aspects here. One way, definitely Tarka is a help for Mananam. Nobody denies that. But the Padartha Jnanam you are looking about it, that is not what is helping. Now, what is he doing here? Okay, in some way it is true, in some way it is limited argument. Why is it true? Because like I always say, it's good for everyone today to have some scientific background. Why? It helps you see the limitations of the world. Similarly, by Tarka, by understanding all this, you understand how limited the whole thing is. You know, how all the conclusions are not fully acceptable. So you see limitations of things. That much is got a point. But Padartha Jnanam is not used in Mananam.
But they are obsessed with
Padartha, Gunas, etc. Dravyas, Gunas, etc. Yeah. Yeah. And look at it. See, Padartha Jnanam also may be used. They said Jnanam eva moksha. But what Jnanam exactly? What Jnanam? Yeah.
They have no jnanam in that dravyam.
Yeah. Buddhi Guna. Atma Guna. Atma Guna they put it as.
What an aikyam will never be there between Shiva and Parmatma.
Exactly. Because you are talking about all the padarthas as eternal. Nityam. If you are talking about it as Nityam, it is not valid, no? That's the drawback. That's the drawback. That's why we all study Nyaya for the logic part of it. But for other things we dismiss it. The Vaisheshika part we dismiss. Logic fine. Up to a point it is helpful. The logic that is used is a little bit what you call classical logic. It is dismissed. It is not the neurophysi logic that is necessary in Vedanta. But that logical base it gives you is good. Like now when you look at Vedanta again, you will find a different perspective of the whole thing. How your understanding will be, okay, one level better. Like how if you have understood some physics, etc., your understanding of Vedanta is better. It will happen. It will always happen, yeah. Because it helps your mananam, that much is true. But you are stuck in the wrong things. Because if you take all of them as eternal, it doesn't work. How does it work? Because then you say Nityam, Atma is also Nityam. You say, aisa ek hai. How many Nityams are there? Exactly. We are emphasizing the problem. Therefore, even though he claims, and this much is true, in fact, Pujya Swamiji used to say, all the Shad Darshanas have been written by Vedanta to make Vedanta clearer. They are written as Purvapakshas to Vedanta. Because look at it, when you read this, barabar hai, Mananam it is. You see how your mind goes up to this statement when you read. Correct? Yeah, it helps. Oh, okay. But where does it stop helping and where it becomes a conditioning? Yeah. Then it is easier. That's why I do it later. Yeah. If you have studied this before, yeah, it won't happen. Now, if you study Tarka and then go to Vedanta, where the teacher will point out the limitations, then it will work well. Because you still have a logical mind. And in olden days, there was no other education. No? But Tarka teaches you how to think.
So in the olden days when, let's say you were the part of the Gurukula system and you went there as a kid, right? They would keep teaching you shlokas
A little bit they'll talk, but they'll also talk about Tarka, they'll talk about mathematics, they'll talk, all those things will come. There was worldly knowledge also.
So you were kind of revealed.
Yeah. So some idea of moksha you will have, not clear. See, because unless you've seen a bit of life, you can't understand what moksha is about. So an 8-year-old, it's inappropriate talking about moksha. 6-year-old, 8-year-old. But Ishvara Jnana would be given because of the rituals, etc. Bhakti is strong. Then education will be a form of logic, tarka, etc. Yeah.
Swami, can I
Yeah.
ask a question?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. You.
Why do we have to understand logic so much? Because Vedanta at the end of the day is not, it's who I am. So, but because our minds are so complicated because of the...
It's not only because our minds are complicated. No, it's not only that. The human mind moves in the sense of logical. Understanding has to be logic based. How will you understand something without that? You'll have to take it in good faith, blind belief.
Yeah, and the mind wants to conclude. They're buffering this.
So the human mind is naturally analytical up to a point. Now that analysis has to be developed sometimes. Therefore you study Tarka and things like that. But some amount of analysis is natural. Therefore in modern world we are studying Vedanta without Tarka for the simple reason that your education has taken care of some logic. We refined that. And when you come to a Vedanta class, it gets refined. But whether you are studying commerce, arts, science, everything there is some logic, no? Law, isn't there logic? You are presenting logical argument, trying to poke holes in that. Therefore, for a lawyer, Tarka is very good to study. Yeah.
Even to know that Vedanta is a pramana, we have to go through logic. Why other pramanas will not work? That is why.
Yeah, that also you have to know, no?
No, in fact, this helps in the profession, how to evolve.
Yeah, that's true.
That class 8 लीजिए.
Yeah.
That shows devotion how to.
So you need that, yeah.
Not whether the second stage, not let the opponent go to the...
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is slightly given to.
So this is not the way the original text concluded, right? This is the commentary by somebody, right?
No, what's that?
The original text doesn't conclude like
No, this is part of the text. Part of the original text.
Because it suddenly seems like they have just force-fit everything.
No. It is part of the text. Yeah. It's part of the text, no? It's part of the text. Because this is before the final conclusion. This is before the final conclusion. After that, the conclusion comes. No, yeah. Those who are listening to me online, are you all hearing me? Can someone respond? We can, okay. Yeah? I beg your pardon? Oh, 1 second. There is a problem here. Okay, let me just help them out with this. Where is my Geo gone? So that's 1 minute. I help these people with that. Yep. Yep. Now you all are fine, I think. Yeah, now you all are fine. Online. Yep. Yeah, what is your question? Go to the? Yeah. Yeah. Correct. That's why a student in a traditional Gurukula All of them don't go for moksha. It won't happen. See, if you went through your traditional Gurukula education, you'll be a good thinker. You'll have some devotion, etc. You'll function well in society. You'll have a sense of patriotism, this, that, belongingness to the culture, heritage, all that. You'll be a good human being. So, it is not necessary that everyone in the Gurukula, they're too young.
So they would have to go back, no, to study Vedanta.
Then what happens is, once you experience life a bit, now there were rare people who, by the time they passed out 17, 18, who asked for moksha. Now, otherwise, you came back into society, you lived your life, either married or not, usually married, because those days, there is a statement in the Veda which says, Anashrami na tishteta eka divasam api. Don't sit, don't remain as an anashrami. Now, who is an anashrami? Someone who doesn't have an ashrama. What is that? Well, you have an ashrama in sense of you are a brahmachari, a student. But brahmachari is a student. You have finished, you have graduated out. So the next ashrama is what? Grahastha. But you are not yet. So get into Grahastha ashrama. So generally most people got into it. So moksha ichha came later. Because you are seeing life, pariksha lokan is happening. Then vanaprastha, sannyasa, all the way. So this was a general life plan. But there is a vidhi in the Shastra which says, Yad ahareva vrajet, tad ahareva pravrajet. That moment where you have had vairagya, that you want moksha, etc. That moment you can walk away. Yeah. That moment you can walk away. There is a statement like that. So because of that you could skip stages. Therefore it also says, okay, Vani bhutva pravrajet. After you become a Vani, take sannyasa. Grahastho bhutva pravrajet. From Grahastha directly you can skip vanaprastha and go into moksha. Or brahmacharya deva. After brahmacharya itself you can do it. They don't say before brahmacharya do it. But education base is not there even. Yeah, you know, some base you need, na? Some base to work on you need. Yeah. So you don't skip the brahmachari ashrama. That's your growing up ashrama. Some basic education, etc. Okay, some basic education. So that is the system. So your Atma Jnanam will work. You need logic for it. The teacher has to explain logically. The student has to understand logically. Otherwise, only statements will be made. You shall do this or you shall not do this. It will be commandments. Commandments is not teaching. Yeah. It's also a fact that most people like to be told what to do. In society, most people like to be told what to do. Just tell me, क्या करने का बोलो, एकम वद निश्चित्यम.
Even the Upanishads explains logically, like the spider.
Yeah, exactly. So logic is always used. The moment you say teaching, understanding, logic comes into the picture. You can't avoid that. Even though the Shastra is beyond logic. The Shastra can declare. But if it is hitakari, if I have to gain from it, I need logic. Without that, how will I gain? How will I understand? Because human mind moves in logic. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Bol diya. What will you do? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. There is Brahman, Satyam Jnanam. How will I understand it is me? Then the whole explanation has to come into the picture. And that explanation is all logical.
And that too, it comes from the world, because otherwise you don't see how you are saying that material cost.
Yeah, you need to bring it.
You see in the world that a spider is an example.
See,
That's true.
why is it necessary? You are born as a human being. When you are born as a human being, you are born in ignorance. So as a child, you are born in ignorance. How will the child grow? Because human child is much more difficult. Part of brain development it happens inside the womb. part has to happen with stimuli outside the womb. So now there has to be learning, because brain development, you need stimuli. See, the whole point of brain development outside the womb is because of stimuli, observation. So perception becomes your first pramana. That's why it's called Jeshtam. But even in understanding perception, by perception understanding, logic is involved. You know, bring the food, bring the ball, bring the table, bring the book. Child keeps hearing all this. So this is various things coming and going, that's all the thing. But one is constant, what? Bring, 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 bring. So the child by observation understands the dhatu first, the verb first, not the noun. When you are teaching a child, you will teach the noun. Ball, book, nose. When you are teaching in terms of nouns. When the child is observing and learning, the child is understanding verbs. Because the verb is constant, noun keeps changing. Because verbs are very few. Bring one verb, but you can have 1,000 nouns along with it. No? So once again. So now you look at it. Isn't that a logical connection in perception? So from that time onwards, logic is developed in a child. 6 months, baby, logic starts developing. The human mind develops on logic then. All the way. Then that logic has to be refined with education, this, that, etc. But now education is supposed to refine logic. It doesn't do that. Rote learning doesn't do that. That is good for making a clerk for the British Empire. Yeah. Because the whole education system was geared for that. No? You wanted babus. So what is someone, whether you are a graduate in commerce, biology, physics, you can work in a bank. Why? Because you need clerical work. No? I mean, anyone can do that. Why do you need a graduate? 10th standard is enough for that, actually speaking, isn't it? Why do you need a graduate? 10th standard is enough. Really, honestly, basic education, absolute basic education till 12th standard is enough. That's why in USA and all, after 12th, 90% of them are working. Now only 10% go for higher education. It was very expensive. In India, you say graduate because availability. Otherwise, where graduate will become a qualification. Now it becomes postgraduate. Postgraduate is preferred. Graduate is minimum. Why? Why do you need that? To do clerical work. You don't need that. School education is enough. So that logical development of the mind doesn't happen in our modern education. But that is what it's meant for. Unless you study something like science or even commerce, you know, which some subjects are more logical because they go by inference, data, perception, observation, verification. So any branch of knowledge that uses all this will develop your logic to an extent. Simple graduation, because even physics, how much of experimental verification and all you learn as students? As students what? I was called to take some lectures, non-credit courses, MBA students, okay, where they are supposed to learn application in life. No? He says, Swamiji, Indian ethos. I said, see, these champions are not seen the inside of his office. You want me to do Kautilya Arthashastra for them? You want me to do strategy from the Mahabharata for them? Office ne dekha hai. So I will do what is necessary for them in terms of growing as human beings, as competent human beings, as HR, what you would call as HR. So about handling emotions, this, that. And one of the guys said, Swamiji, will you give us notes for all this? I said, you deserve a kick on your back, I told him. I said, if you are looking for notes, get out of my class, don't sit here. Handling emotions is what you to do, not to put notes. Nobody is going to ask you. Learn to handle your own emotions and don't be an idiot. So, are you seeing this? This type of supplement, in fact, if this much is there, and basic 12th standard is there, you'll be good anywhere you're working. No? You'll pick up skills, you'll pick up knowledge. Whole thing about self-esteem, all that I have done for some of you all were there for it. The whole thing will develop very nicely, including teamwork, team building, leadership, all that thing. The whole thing will work well. You don't need a graduate. In fact, if you have all that thing and 12th standard education, it is as valid as an MBA. Then only you have to pick up systems. What do you pick up in MBA? Systems. What else are you picking up? That you can pick up on the job. Or from 12 directly do an MBA. Yeah, exactly. I remember as a marine engineer, how much I learned from my oil man. Okay, he had 25 years experience, and my first job I was 22-year-old. He has been having more experience than my whole life. How much I learned from him. In fact, he used to watch me for 1 week. I didn't have any work discussions. He was watching me like a hawk. Why? I have to prove myself, not him. Then once both of us got shifted to night shift after 1 week. So he made a cup of tea for both of us. And he had a reputation of being difficult. So I told him, Abbas, baita. Nice up. It's very formal, Navy, Sir Abbas. Captain ne, chief ne, koi ne, khali hum log dono baito na, 12 baj gaya, raat ko sab soya, baito. So he sat and we are having a cup of tea. I said, Abbas, हम सुना है आपको 25 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है. हाँ साहब. तो हम लोग ऐसा बहुत जन देखा रहेगा, आता जाता है. He laughed. I said, you have more experience than I have lived. It is better I tell him that than he tells me in an argument later. Then I told him, see, I know my job. Sir, हाँ साहब, आपको देखा है, आप काम पक्का जानते हैं. But I don't have your experience. Will you share your experience with me? हाँ साहब, हम लोग टीम बनेंगे ना. He himself said it. I said, wow, my leadership idea is working. Because he is a competent man, but he has become disillusioned a bit. He is an able person, but not willing very much. I'm telling you, after that, what we achieved on that ship is beautiful, including saving lives. Only because he was there as backing me up. Yeah. Tank. People have fainted inside because there is poisonous gas. I said, Abbas, rope, and I went down. Because I knew he will get it. And I pulled people towards the ladder, and one by one, all of them, pulled up. And by that end, I had not worn a gas mask, which actually you are not supposed to enter without a gas mask. But I was relying on this character. By that end, I was also getting affected, but I managed to tie the rope. He pulled me up. Okay. By the time they come with gas mask and all everyone is up. So how did he do it? We did. Abbas and I said, his strength, because he was huge, powerful guy, 6 feet tall and solid. His hands and all were like my legs. So I knew I could rely on his strength. Yeah. And he knew every nuance of every engine and everything on the ship. Because you learn through experience. These are systems. If you have a logical mind, there is nothing you cannot learn. Nothing. Except when it comes to the pramana of the Shastra, where you need to go beyond that logic and understand. Therefore, that logical part don't dismiss. At the same time, don't over-rely on logic also. It's a very balance you need to make, Yeah. Therefore, the logic part is helpful, but not in the way they say. By studying all these nitya, etc., it doesn't help. Like science, fundamental building blocks of matter, etc., it won't help. But it will develop your logical mind. Consciousness, product of the brain, etc., it won't help. Understanding it. But it will develop your logical mind. So, actually education is supposed to develop that logical mind. You give me the time, couple of years, I will take a 12th standard person and make him more competent than an MBA. No, I'm not joking. But time, effort on both our parts and a little exposure to things here, In fact, the first batch I taught this Indian ethos in management, as project I went, asked them to find HR practices in all the companies and come back to, various groups of people. 5 of them got job offers when they knew they were training with me. And this was what I was doing with them. So when you graduate, come, your job is ready for you. Because they realize the value of what is being done. Anyway, that apart. You had a question. Yeah. See, Parama Prayojana Moksha, you can take it in two ways. If it is with understanding, which Kanada and all were, they were all Rishi like, so they knew what it was meant for. Okay. So their Parama Prayojana is moksha like how Vedanta only talks about. Because Kanada was a Rishi. Why did he write something like this? Two ways you can look at it. One, he didn't know what moksha about. Therefore, he developed this as a scientific person. Forerunners for science. That's one way you can look at it. Or you can say the whole thing developed as an aid and a Purva-paksha both. Because Nyaya as a Purva-paksha also exists. You will see that a bit in Vedanta Paribhasha. Then when you are studying higher texts, Siddhanta Lesha Sangraha or Chitsukhi, Advaita Siddhi, a lot of Purva-pakshas come from Tarka. But you have the base now. I'll be able to explain it that time there. Enough. Separateness. Atma Vitarikta, Deha Vitarikta Atma Jnanam. You know you are independent of all this. Like, see, yeah. Therefore, look at it. Whether you are doing Sankhya, Yoga, Tarka, even to an extent Buddhist, etc. All this is, moksha is only this much. Sakshik Jnanam. Some experience of Samadhi, etc. to back it up. That's all that is called as moksha in all these disciplines. Nothing more. That limitlessness, etc. doesn't come in any discipline.
In the concluding line, he says, Bala Vittati Siddhaye.
Huh?
It's for the beginner.
What is that?
In the concluding line, he says it's for the beginner.
Yeah, that is true.
So
It's true because it's an entry level text now. See, this text is an entry level. Tarka Sangraha is an entry level text. Next would be Bhasha Paricheda, etc. There are other texts available. Then graded learning happens. In any text, any discipline, graded learning will happen. So,
probably your second explanation seems more.
so it will be more logic, more arguments will come in, more technical will come in. Yeah. Samavaya, Asamavaya, all that thing will come into the picture. Lot more will come in.
So
But
usually Maranam in this sense, and then in terms of when you
Yeah.
start learning Vedanta, then that will.
yeah, so this mananam will only reach you maximum. See, that will also help. Even if you come to Deha Vedarikta Atma, a Sakshik Jnanam. Sakshik Jnanam is a big help, no? If you understood that much. And if little bit you are bringing into your life, huge thing it is, no? For Vedanta Jnanam.
Like the students in Kenopanishad.
Yeah, huge thing it is. Both हो गया. So it has got a limited purpose in understanding. Because logic always has a limited purpose. Never final. Yeah. It's never final. No, not the Mananam of Vedanta exactly, no. Yeah. True. Yeah. Yeah, that is true. So it has got a limited purpose and that's it. Yeah. See, with some, that's why with some logical, this thing come to Vedanta, then will help. Finally, see, even they admit, if you look at it here, the pramana is moksha only, no? Is Vedanta only. They also say that. They also say that pramana is moksha. Well, I mean, pramana is Vedanta. He accepts that. Ardhangikaram is there. Half acceptance is there. Yeah? Yeah. No. See, it was there. It was put more dialectically. That's all. See, yeah. Oh, the same thing was taught. The time and space is one, etc. We was taught. Yeah. Even before Stephen Hawking, now I'll say, okay, go and read the book. But in an ashram setup or in a full-time setup, I can't say, well, go read a book. Yeah, you'll be taught. Yeah. Simple, there and then, now and here. So the connection between time and space can be easily understood. That's all that is necessary. You don't need to necessarily understand it scientifically. You have to understand that.
Provides the evidence that the
Yeah,
modern mind-
science only provides the evidence, so it helps. If you are having a student who is an expert in science, okay, like when I was discussing with my friend who is a professor in statistics, then those things help. Yeah, then those things help. Yeah, it only helps to communicate better, because that is the current knowledge of the person who is sitting in front of you. Now, if the person who is sitting in front of me doesn't have that knowledge, I don't have to bring it in. Yeah. So, when the Bhashya, etc., will talk about the most fundamental knowledge. You, as a teacher, you can upgrade it to make it contemporary. That's the teacher's job. How contemporary? Depending on who's listening. Yeah. Like if people don't have that much of scientific knowledge, I can't start putting Stephen's theory on the blackboard and say, see, this is how time is. It's ridiculous. It's useless. Yeah, it's ridiculous to do that, no? Yeah. So some people seeing the board may think, is Swamiji doing that? Or think that what? Especially the recordings of I said, मजाक के लिए रहने दो अच्छा ही है. For fun it can be there. But there is more to it that we will see next class. Okay, Om, that's a good place to stop.